Welcome to the Master Passive Income Show. My name is Dustin Heiner, and I'm here to help you get financial independence. Quit that job, that just over broke job, by investing in real estate so you never ever have to work a job again. And today I am super pumped to bring on a fantastic land investing expert who's been doing this and makes money by flipping land, and it's going to show us how we can do it as well. All right, let's start the show.
Welcome to the Master Passive Income Podcast, where we talk about investing in real estate with a special focus on making enough money so you can quit your job and live the dream life. And now, here is your host, Dustin Heiner.
What's going on? Super blessed as always to have you here with me on the show. I mean, honestly, it's cool having you come and listen and hopefully get to change your life by investing in real estate. And I've been doing some investing myself that I want to share with you about. So I had got the idea. Obviously, we are having, I won't say obviously, you might not know, but we're having the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference in St. Louis 2024, March of 2024. Every year it's going to be moving all around from year to year. It's going to go east, central, and west coast. And this year it's going to be in central. It's going to be in St. Louis. Super pumped. But then I started looking at St. Louis for investing and thinking this could be a good area to invest. And I really want to, you guys know, I love residential buy and hold properties. It could be long-term, mid-term, or short-term properties like Airbnb, but literally buying and holding these properties. So this is what I've been doing. And I'll give you a little bit into my investing as well as what my students are doing and a little bit of what they're not doing. So my students, they're having, I guess, a little bit of an issue with finding properties because they're waiting for them to come on the MLS. Well, you might be doing that yourself. You might be waiting for them on the MLS, and there could be some that pop up which are fantastic, which in a seller's market, it's really hard to find good deals. Buyer's market, they're everywhere. I remember back in 2010, when I started investing in 2008 through the crash. Actually, I started in 2006. I'm rambling a little bit, but in 2010, it was so easy to buy lots of properties because it was literally a buyer's market. I didn't have enough money for all the properties that I wanted to buy. I could have bought so many more. Now, in the seller's market like we have been, as well as high interest rates, people aren't really listing their homes for sale because if they're going to move, they're going to buy another house, get rid of their low interest rate on this house, and get a high interest rate on this newer house on a very high price. So the inventory is very low. But that is not to say that there are not great deals out there. So this is what I'm doing and what my successful students are doing. We're finding properties off market. Now, when I say off market, it could be through any way. It could be through wholesalers, direct mail, talking to other investors, going to Facebook groups and talking to people there, property management companies, talking to them. So there are many ways to find off-market deals. And when you find an off-market deal, more than likely you're going to save a lot of money, and you're going to find somebody who really needs and wants to sell. So what I've done is I've actually used direct mail, and with that direct mail, we sent out a bunch of letters, and all those letters, I got lots and lots of calls back from people who want to sell. And these are people who haven't even listed their properties on the market, and with that, they haven't even listed with an agent yet. So I'll give you one quick story about one seller who reached out to me. So this seller reached out to me, and now here's the thing you need to realize, a little coaching tip for you. Real estate is not about a property. We might think it is. We might be thinking we're buying properties, but in the end, real estate is not about properties. Real estate is about people. And if you service the people that you're working to buy properties from, or leasing a property to, or if you're selling a property, if you're focusing on the person, you're going to succeed. So I had the seller. He has to be an older gentleman, it seems like, because as he was replying, it seemed like technology wasn't very, he wasn't really in on technology, I would say, as well as using title companies. Well, what was really interesting, because I put my company name on there, sent out direct mail to a bunch of different people, he emailed me, and with that, in emailing me, he was asking me like, well, I couldn't find your company here in St. Louis. Like, well, yeah, it's not in St. Louis, we're in Arizona. And I looked you up on Better Business Bureau, and you weren't in there. I'm like, I didn't say this. This is literally like in my head, but as I'm typing out the email, I'm thinking, dude, I'm just buying a house. Like, you're not working at a company where I'm, or working with a company. Like, I'm going to be fixing your car and you're trying to, anyways, I won't keep digressing in that. But what happened was I was very patient with him. Even though my mind was thinking, man, this is kind of remedial questions. He doesn't know these answers. And so if you figure, and this is what I did, I said, okay, this is a people business. How do I help this seller to actually feel comfortable with me buying his house? With that, I basically was emailing him the entire process of selling a house, helping him to understand how to sell a house, how we use a title company. They're the third party. They make sure everything's done right, and they're going to be protected. I'm going to be protected. Their property is going to be protected. So the interchange went back and forth. I want to say literally 8 emails back and forth, like 8 individual. He emailed me once, and I emailed him back. That's 1 each. 8 each, so 16 emails, I guess, if you want to say it that way. So back and forth over and over again. Eventually, we got on a phone call. And remember, in this business, it's all about people. I knew he was really uneasy about selling his house. So I wanted to come on the phone and be very, very thoughtful, understanding, and asking questions about how I can help him. Turns out he has 2 properties now but basically 2 properties that he wants to sell. And they're rented out right now. He's just an older gentleman that's just like, I just had these properties, never sold them, and just put some, rented it out. And my daughter's in one and Ted's in another. After all the patient time, like literally spent time with him, after all of that, he said, you know what? I don't want to just sell you this house. I want to sell you both houses. And so, because I was patient, number 1, because number 2, I was really helpful, like trying to help him. And number 3, focused on the person as opposed to the deal. I could have got frustrated and said, oh man, this is too much work, too many emails back and forth. I wouldn't be in the place where I'm at today. So what I did was first started doing direct mail in an area that I knew I could build a business, because you guys know you need to build a business first. Then with those calls, started communicating with these sellers as a person. They're the same type of person, just like you and me, same wants and dreams, or that they have them, as well as they might have a need that you can help them with. Don't feel like you're taking advantage of them. And so as we get into this episode where we talk about land investing, this is like, it's real estate. Every piece of information you're learning through this one interview that I do with a fantastic real estate investor who invests in land, think of it that this is the people business. Just because she's investing in land, or we're investing in single family homes, or somebody else is investing in storage units, whatever it might be, it's all about people. If you focus on the person, you will be successful. And in this episode, you're actually going to hear where my guest says that she does direct mail. Well, I've literally done direct mail, and I've worked with a company who is fantastic, and they literally do the mail for you. And go ahead and work with them. Like, I'll just literally put a link in the description. REI Print Mail is the company, and link in the description, masterpassiveincome.com/REI Print Mail. They'll literally give you a free 500 property list. Like, they'll find the list for you, they'll find the properties, and they'll do all that work. They usually charge for it, but because you're coming from Master Passive Income, you'll get that. But this is what I do. This is what investors do. And this is what people who are, let's say, trying to get into investing, or my beginner students, they're not doing something like this. They're thinking, well, I'm spending money to find properties. Well, yeah. How do you think realtors are finding properties? They're spending money to find properties to sell, either through marketing or working with other people. But you have to put a little bit of money in. But in the end, you make sure that money that you're putting out is actually going to be paid for by the tenant, essentially. Like, in the end, the total cost of the property and the cost to acquire the property is all included. Anyways, I go on through all that inside the course and the coaching and all this sort of stuff, walking you through. But I wanted to share with you how successful students and successful investors are getting deals is because we are looking for off-market properties. The last week's episode, we had Pernith, who was on, who literally in 2 months got 6 units or 6 properties, 5 properties, I think, and 6 total units. But he's literally crushing it because he's found other ways to get deals, not just waiting for them to hit the MLS. He's actually pretty active in that. So I want you to get active. Get active in your investing. Don't just wait for them to come for you. They'll come to you eventually, but it'll take forever. But you can actually streamline it. Use our REI Print Mail. They're fantastic. On top of that, let's jump into today's show where I'm going to be interviewing a fantastic land investor who started in 2021, but then has flipped so many deals. In her first direct mail campaign, she literally got 17 deals, not just seven or one or seven, 17 deals, and she didn't know what to do with them, but she eventually got them. Long story short, you're going to be able to learn so much from this interview. And in this interview, we are actually at the Wealth Builders Mastermind Summit. Now, this is the Mastermind Summit. Anybody can join if you're the right fit. Obviously, there's an application process, but if you go, there'll be a link in the description. If you want to join the Wealth Builders Mastermind, that's literally where I am, Mike and Michael Kwan, who we have a mastermind where we invite everybody into where they can be a part of a mastermind like I have. And what's exploded my businesses is because of my mastermind. Well, we created one that you can be a part of. Go to WBMM.org, Wealth Builders Mastermind, WBMM.org. Link will be in the description, but you can apply there. And I mean, it's just fantastic how we're all helping each other. Okay, let's jump into today's show where I interview a fantastic real estate investor who is investing in land, flipping land, and making lots of money doing it. We have Denise Ford on the show. Okay, here we go.
So we met first at the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, and I found out that she does a really amazing land investing. Like, she's a land investor. And so with her investing and building up her business, we're literally sitting in the Wealth Builders Mastermind Summit, coming together with lots of other investors. And we're literally inside of our Airbnb recording right now. It's so much fun. 3 days of getting into each other's lives. But I am super pumped to bring on a fantastic land expert sharing with us how we can invest just like she does. I have Denise Ford with me. Denise, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, I'm pleased to be here and very honored to be a part of the mastermind and also just to share information about the land industry.
So we met at the first RubeCon. You came, the first one and the second one, which was super terrific. And then now being a part of this mastermind summit where we're literally getting more in depth is just great. Now, you invest in land, and can you share with us briefly, just a little bit of how you got started in land? Because you probably didn't start from out of high school and started, investing in land, but what got you into land investing?
Yeah, it was not in my plans at all. My background is marketing and design, so I had done business for both. I was W-2, providing a single mom, so I had to bring up my 4 kids. They actually wanted to eat and go to school and everything, so I had a solid job the whole time, but also my family's entrepreneurs, so we always wanted to build something else. We love starting from scratch and building new things. So after my kids were grown, I knew there was still something else I wanted to do. The W-2 was not going to be enough, and I was just unfulfilled. So I started doing research, jumping on, listening to podcasts of different industries, and I came across one for land investing. And I had zero real estate background, nothing at all. However, with my side business of marketing design, I worked with over 150 individual companies. So I'd have to dig into those industries and really learn about them in order to speak for them and advertise. So I knew there was something for the land. So the key was jumping into education, finding other people, finding communities, and really getting a grasp of it. And then eventually taking action. That's what it's all about. You can't understand if it's going to be the right channel or not unless you do it.
There's only so much learning you can or should do before you really start getting into it. So I love that. Now, talk to me a little about how your first deal came about, because land investing, not a lot of people think of land as let's buy land, let's sell land, wholesale it, or build on it. Usually we think let's just buy a house and do something with a house, like a physical thing that's already built. Talk to me about getting your first land deal, and then what was the process of getting it and then selling it, and how did that all work out?
Absolutely. So I was in the coaching and education program, and it was a smaller one, so it was very customized, and I could reach out to them and talk to them. It's about, doing the background, pulling the list, researching the areas, customizing the prices, deciding what kind of direct mail. So that was the process that I wanted to go through, and just, following the steps and getting the mail out there and seeing what came back. To my surprise, 17 deals came back.
17?
Yes. And it was I didn't know what to do. Quite honestly, I called my coach. I'm like, oh my goodness, what do I do?
And I want to pause for a quick second and share that honestly, I really want you to invest in real estate. Now, my new goal is to help 1 million people invest in real estate. So 2 things I would ask from you. Number 1, if you get anything out of this episode, please share it with somebody else. Just say, hey, check out Dustin, Master Passive Income. He really wants to help 1 million people to invest in real estate. That's number 1. Number 2, I want to get you to invest in real estate. Get my real estate investing course absolutely for free. Text the word rental, RENTAL, to 33777. Rental to 33777. I'll literally give you my course, show you how to find an area of the country to invest, how to build the business first. I always talk about that, and how to find the right properties, how to make sure you're getting experts to do the work for you, and scale the business to where you're making $250 or more in passive income. Scale it to quit your job. I'll literally get to you, or go to masterpassiveincome.com/free course. Obviously, it'll be in the description, but I really, really want you to invest in real estate, because the more that actual, normal, everyday people own real estate that are good landlords, the better everybody's life gets.
He helped me guide through it, but it's still ongoing education. It's not working with people. It's about providing a solution for them. So I'm giving them something, what they need, and we're working together. And they just want to know it's in a trusted place. So getting my teams and my foundation in place was really important. Understanding my documents, using an attorney to get those solid contracts in place. Surround yourself with solid people. And then, so the model for the land is that you're buying potentially lower than market, and then you can list it on the market, or you can do it individually. But I chose to use agents because I didn't want to do everything myself, and I shouldn't. Build your trusted team. That's a really important part. So then we just started getting it out there, and I think not every deal is going to work. There's a learning curve. When the first time I got a title report from a title company, I had no idea how to read it. So once again, coming back into education, and then just moving forward. And I remember the first time I acquired a deal, I literally did a happy dance around my bedroom. Like, I could not believe that it was proof of concept.
It worked.
Yes, it was legitimate. It was a trusted new channel to do business. So, here we go.
What year was that when you first got started?
2021. So it was a late start. It was also, I was learning that on the side as I had my W-2. And unexpectedly, I lost my W-2 in 2022. They did away with the marketing department, and I had an hour and a half notice. And I'm like, wow. So it was a little kick in the pants that I needed. It was the best thing that could have happened.
I love that you said that, because number one, I find it's more risky to work for somebody else. They could easily take your job away in 2 seconds, like an hour and a half notice. And with that, it's the best thing that happens, because I love the saying that necessity is the mother of invention. That's how we get better, when we get out of our comfort zone, when we start doing something that we don't necessarily have it all figured out. But if you have it all figured out, then you'd already be doing it. But you figure it out as you go. In fact, I love doing this with my kids. So my kids, I would tell them to do something. They said, well, I don't know how to do that, Daddy. I said, you're a Heiner. Heiner figures things out. We figure things out. Like, go and figure it out. And if you need help, you come back to me. But in life, it's so much about figuring it out. And I also want to touch on something you brought up, is having a coach. Oh my goodness. Talk about fast tracking success and seeing things that you would not see, giving you options. Talk to me about how beneficial it was to have somebody that's literally in your corner, done it before, and then walking you through that process. Because now, with as many deals that you've done, you now have your own understanding now, but you've also learned from somebody else who's literally done it before.
Absolutely. So it was just a crucial piece of the puzzle. And then you can move on to other ones. Like, I shifted, maybe that coaching program wasn't for a huge scaling, but I still to this day, they're trusted friends. And then you move on to other groups and you're like, okay, what can I learn from this? And maybe you're moving. What I appreciate is not only with the land, but to get into other groups like financial and all across the board real estate, because you can cross-pollinate all of those ideas and apply them. So being here at the summit, all different industries, and it's invaluable. How can I use this, and how can I share with other people the the practices.
Absolutely. And when I knew that you were coming, I knew you were a land investor. And then we also had Dave Wells, who is also in our mastermind, the monthly mastermind. And I know Dave builds in Arizona. You have land in Arizona. So he builds properties on land. I'm like, this is going to be a perfect fit. I was so excited to connect you guys. So with your investing, how do you scale the land? Because I could say, we find one property to buy, 2 or 3, which would be great. But then how do we then scale it to where we have money coming in to be able to provide for ourselves?
Absolutely. So one important piece for scaling is getting the systems in place. So, you can start on Google Sheets, you can start, in some basic things, but if you really want to automate a little bit more and hire people in, so get your CRM, your system in place. And then also, where's the money coming from? That's a big thing, right? I did not enter with a lot of capital. So I would work with their specific land companies who will loan money for that. But read your contract, because that was one of my biggest learning curves. I used those and we would talk for hours. Great people, but I did not read the contract closely enough. So a little line on the bottom said if it doesn't sell by X number of months, you lose the land. Oh. It's still to this day in the gut, full accountability on me for missing that. But I think that was one of the most important things, because it changed how I do business with other people. As much transparency and just, it shifts your business. But back to the question, so how was I going to bring in money then? Well, actually from Rubicon, I sponsored it. So I had my first stranger come to me and say, hey, what are you doing here? Let me see your numbers. Can I invest with you? And that was, to this day, he's one of my best investors. I didn't answer his emails at first. I didn't believe him. I'm like, do I have enough proof of concept to show him? But now, so either I can self-fund some of my deals, or I have about 9 private investors and more that have inquired. So you have to be able to, you're providing a solution for these investors too. You're not taking their money. You are giving them far better returns than on the market, and in a trusted way. So really customize with those investors. Like what's their goal? And customize the deals for that.
I totally get it. And now for most of your properties, the most land deals, is the goal is to exit and sell them to make a profit? Do you look to build? What is the end game for every piece of property? Is it everything different, or how do you go about that?
Yeah, and that's changed over time. So getting my feet on the ground in the beginning, it was definitely just flipping it. And now it's just fun, because what else can you do with it? What's the long-term play? Do I want to subdivide? Do I want to, we're putting manufactured homes on some now. Do we want to buy vacant land and get the entitlements on it? Because there's trusted people out there. They do that work. I'll do this, you do that, and then let's sell it. Do we want to then lease the land? Do we want to be the McDonald's model where we're leasing that land for a long amount of time? So it's really talking with the investors. Do they want their money fast, or do they not want the tax implications? Do they want seller financing deals? So a lot of conversation, and there's endless opportunities what you can do with it.
And I agree, because when you originally talking about when you find somebody who's selling, you're trying to provide a service for them. They need help. Well, you want to be able to help them. Same thing with the investors. You want to be able to help them as well. So I love how you lead with serving, and that's the main goal. Now, I have so many more questions, but everybody, Denise is literally flying out. She was here with us for 3 days, and I don't want her late to the plane. And so we're going to let her go. But Denise, how can people find you? How can they learn about the land sandbox that you have with all your investing? Because more than likely, they want to reach out to you.
Absolutely. So, and I will say that with that, you need to set up your businesses as well. So Land Sandbox is my sales side, the disposition. Get your LLC in place, have your acquisition side, have all your solid business pieces in place. But they can reach me at info@landsandbox.com, and I'll be happy to connect with you and share information.
Terrific, Denise. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you're here at the Wealth Builders Summit as well.
Thank you. It's been my honor. Thanks.
And that is it for today. Go ahead and get my free real estate investing course. Text the word rental to 33777, RENTAL to 33777. You can also join my Real Estate Wealth Builders group coaching. Get all my courses. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next show. See ya.